So this first article says the longer you go without something, the more comfortable you are without it. New behavioral research shows that prolonged abstinence from a habit, product, or person can rewire the brain to not just cope but thrive without it. The longer one distance themselves, the easier it becomes to detach emotionally, physically, or psychologically. This principle applies to everything from unhealthy foods and addictive substances to toxic relationships and comfort zones. Over time, what once felt essential becomes irrelevant as the brain adjusts to a new baseline. It's a reminder that self control compounds with time, detachment becomes strength, and absence becomes freedom. The hard part is starting, but the longer you stick with it, the less power it holds over you. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And this can be applied to anything, right? Anything that is addictive, anything that is a distraction. Some of you guys right now are with horrible are in a horrible relationship. The longer you go without that person, once y'all break up, the more you see why the fuck was I even with this person? The longer you go without putting junk food in your body, the more you're gonna realize why the fuck was I putting this shit in my body? I have no need, I have no desire, I have no cravings for processed food, for toxic relationships. So it's very important that we detox our mental, detox um, our ourselves and our energy away from destructive people, destructive things. You know, the longer you go without something, the more you're not gonna need it. I've gone without a lot of things that I felt like was essential to my life. You know, for a long time, uh, just putting bad substances in my body, alcohol, bad food, being around the wrong crowd. I felt like I needed that validation. I felt like that was my escapism at one point. That shit's real, man. But then you find what you really want out of life. You find out what really makes you happy. You find out what really gives you the energy and drive to wake up every morning and get excited. Then these things are no longer needed. Because the main reason why a lot of these things were there in the first place was because basically you were bored. You didn't have much going on. You didn't have, a lot of things that you were excited about. And it was there, it was convenient. And over time, you built up an attachment to this thing, whatever it is. This could be for most men porn, gambling, alcohol, bad relationships, toxic people, toxic friends, just destructive behaviors. And we realize how bad it is for us when we finally step away from it from a long period of time and finally getting to a space where we feel like we have purpose, where we have meaning. So I know a lot of people right now that are addicted to pornography, man. And really the main thing that they need to do is fucking go outside, talk to people, meet people, work on yourself, figure out, what gets you motivated, find a hobby. Because again, it all comes back to you being bored. Most of the time when we pick up destructive bad habits, it just comes down to us being bored. This right now is a big part of my life. Streaming, making content, um, just social media right now, just trying to elevate my social media. This is a big part of my routine. This is a big part of my life right now. So everything else that I used to think was exciting for me, chasing girls, alcohol, going out, and just being around friends, that shit don't even matter to me no more because I get more pleasure just doing this. I have a sense of purpose in my life. I have a sense of purpose in my life. For the first time in a long time, I really feel like I got something going on that's a good thing, because I'll tell you right now, this time last year, being in LA, that was the worst time of my life, bro. I was in the worst space ever. I had nothing going on. My business was fucking imploding. Life was stagnant. I felt stuck. I felt like I wasn't gonna be shit. working dead end jobs while trying to get my business back going. It's a shitty ass life, and you have nothing going for it because all your energy and attention has to be directed towards you just getting out of the hole you're in. So you don't really have time, or at least I didn't have time. I didn't have time to start a podcast and put work in because I had to work. And this is going to tie into our main event later on. But, you know, having a purpose, man, having something that just gives you joy, you really see another side of life. And you really see that there is also another side that, has yet to be fulfilled. So, yeah, man, there's a lot of things right now that are addictive, addicting to a lot of people, but the main thing you need to do is, if this is your situation, the main thing you need to do is figure out what's going to bring you a sense of purpose and just double down on that. Once I figured out what gives me a sense of purpose, once I figured out what I needed to do, which is give y'all this message of um just getting your mind right, adopting the winner's diet. Once I figured out my philosophy, it was easy. The hardest part is just being consistent. Because I'll tell you right now, I'll never run out of content. Content is all around me. I can always find content related towards fitness, but being consistent, that's the hardest part. But I have no problem with that because I enjoy doing this. It's a lot of work. I'm not gonna lie, it's a lot of work, but it's so much better. I'm so much better off doing this than what I was doing this time last year, man. I was a mess. So if I can get out of it, man, y'all can definitely get out of it. So there's no excuses.